Hey, what's up, guys? I'm making this video as an effort to try and help people understand the big picture and the big ideas behind scales. How to take scales and learn them and then make them not sound like scales, make them sound like music. If your guitar player is confronted with the issue of hearing like a Zakk Wylde or Yngwie Malmsteen or whoever your favorite guitar player is, and you hear him doing this brilliant stuff with scales and making them sound like music and making them sound really cool. Well, I'm going to try and do my best to give you guys the fundamentals and the basic understanding to tear you guys loose and be able to go up and down the neck on the guitar. Well, how did I start doing this? How did I kind of view the neck as a network of notes that you can choose from and play? Alright, well, I think the easiest way to kind of developing a vision as to how the neck of the guitar can be just a network of notes that you can choose to use in a solo or whatnot is to pick a key signature and pick a scale. And so for the purpose of the demonstration, I'm going to pick the key of E minor and show you guys how to use the E minor pentatonic scale to go up and down the neck. And later on, when you get more carried away with it and you kind of develop the methods for learning scales, you can throw in obviously E natural minor and its the relative and major scales and whatnot. So to start off with, before you even start learning E minor pentatonic, you need to learn what minor means, the tonality of what makes E minor E minor. So play an E minor chord, and don't laugh at this, just take 2 seconds to do it. I mean, take 2 minutes to do this. And hear E minor, and note the difference between E minor and E major, because E minors sound sad, E major, happy and uplifting. But not only that, keep in mind, play several different chords that are in E minor. And get familiar with that tonality. Just take 2 minutes and do that before you start playing an E minor pentatonic scale. A lot of guitar players skip this step. And this does a couple of things. One, it ingrains this tone in your memory. So when you're jamming with the band and they change key or something like that and you're in E minor, it's going to register with your ear without thinking about it. Eventually it'll just be a habit. Secondly, if you pay attention to where these chords are in the neck, you want to break out of a scale and play an arpeggio, you have the E minor chords. You can get crazy with that. You can do a lot of sweep picking, get elaborate with those arpeggios as you want. But the main thing is hear the tone of E minor, keep in mind the chords. And then, once you have the chord structure down for E minor, next thing you need to know is just the structure of the scale. Take a minute to learn it. You need to know what a scale is and what makes a scale basically. So, a scale is just an ordered set of notes. Beginning with a starting note, which is E minor pentatonic, is just E, and ends back up on E. And the notes in between are just organized in different steps of intervals, whether it's a half step or a whole step for scales. So an E minor pentatonic, what you're dealing with is, starting with E, you're going up a whole step and a half step combined. So E, whole plus a half step brings you to G, whole step to A, another whole step to B, another whole step and a half step to D, and then you're back at E with one whole step. That's E minor pentatonic, and if you play it in the position in the box, I'm going to show you in a second. But it's really important to just get the structure for the steps of notes. So just take 5 minutes, go through that, get the very basics of the scale down, because now that's going to really open up your perspective and hear how a scale fits over this. Okay, so with that in mind, and you kind of see how it all fits together, you're ready to actually learn the scale itself. And I recommend that you just start out with this box. I'm going to show you the different boxes and how to go between them and go up and down the neck in just a second. But just to hear the scale to begin with, it's really important to include this step. Just play up and down the E minor pentatonic box, and if you want to know what it is, just Google the 5 positions to the E minor pentatonic scale. This is box 1, and it can be played at this octave or down here, and I'll show you. Just listen to this. And that's box 1, and unfortunately a lot of guitar players, they really get stuck inside this box, and inside this box is the key to a lot of rock clichés, whatever else you want to go through. But once you hear this, that's the E minor pentatonic scale, same thing we just played here. Now, how does Zakk Wylde or these great guitar players go up and down the neck in E minor pentatonic? Well, you got to learn the 5 positions. And again, go online, get tablature, and if enough people are interested in this, you'll find this video actually helpful. I can tab them out for you guys. You can see the 5 patterns, the boxes that make up E minor pentatonic. And that's going to give you the base or the roots for your note selection when playing E minor pentatonic. And I'll go through it just so you can kind of hear what it sounds like all the way up and down. And starting with box 1, the same thing that was playing up here is played with an open string. Box 1, box 2. Next box, box 3. Box 4. 5th pattern, box 5. And then you're back where you started down here, except playing up an octave. And then you can take this pattern in box 2, of course just move it up an octave. And you get the idea. You go up and down the neck. Same thing you did down here applies to this set of notes. Now, when learning these boxes, what you have to do, first of all, is memorize all 5 of them. And when you do this, play up and down them, just like this. So you can go from box 1 to box 2, 3, 4, and 5 with no guesswork. Once you understand the boxes and you've got that handled down, then that's when you want to incorporate variation. You don't want to get in the habit of just playing up and down the boxes. It's just really boring, and it really won't help your playing. But you got to do that right away to understand and learn the boxes. The second thing you want to do now is incorporate variation as you're learning these things. So it's something that's going to be playing, whether that's just bending or just throwing some vibrato, or simply cycling notes, just using different notes going up and down on string. You guys get the idea. Just use variation when you're practicing once you understand where the boxes are. Now once you get the boxes down and you have all 5 positions, the next thing is linking these boxes together. That's how it's going to open up the E minor pentatonic for you. This is when things start really getting fun and interesting. Once you're through with the memorization part, you can really make things cool. One of the easiest ways to kind of link the boxes together, and I'll give you guys a couple examples, but it comes down to your imagination and doing what you want. But one of the easiest ways to start putting 2 and 2 together, going up and down, is just to start like in the box formation and use box 1 and 2 either up here or down here. And just by doing stuff like this, you can slide up and down, do whatever you got to do, but just go between the boxes and don't get stuck playing in just one box. Another example which links 3 boxes together and shows you this is. I mean, it's just crappy playing, but the point is that you can go from this box to this box to this box, and you can go as far up or down the neck as you want. And none of that, once you get sick of playing these scales, you go back and just rest in the chord and play some arpeggios. And now the next step, and one thing that some people kind of forget or have trouble with, is still they get the scales down and it sounds too much like a scale. So how do you make it sound like music? And this gets into phrasing. And just within the scale, how do you learn to phrase? And the thing to keep in mind is take just small parts of the scale and learn to play within the scale, the other part of the scale that you're playing, just small fragments of it, and taking notes. And just learning to play these. And learn little phrases and eventually put them together to longer phrases and whatnot. Start out slow, obviously, and work your way up to something better. And secondly, if you really want to get carried away, and this is something that I've found to be one of the most helpful things any guitar players ever said or just revealed to me, when you get good at this and you get an understanding of how the pentatonic scales work, figure out, and you want to just throw some of your own emotion into it, your own stamp on your playing. Figure out a way to play an emotion that you're feeling, or an event that you experience or something like that through that scale. So if you're feeling sad, try and find notes, time, signatures, whatever else it is in a scale that convey a sad feeling or emotion. If you can do that in the scale, then you figured out how to use the scale. And other than that, once you've got E minor pentatonic down, you got, of course, get your relative major, G major. I can get more into that if this actually helps somebody. And you can learn E minor pentatonic, or E minor, natural minor, as a scale. And I can give another video on that if anybody's interested. This actually helps somebody. But yeah, good luck with that. Hopefully that kind of gave you the basic idea as to how the whole thing fits together. And it's just up to you to go print it off online, get the tabs for E minor pentatonic, and learn them, and use them, and look them together. Thank you.